The silence after the snap. The dust had settled 3 years ago. But Dr. Elena Vasquez still woke up screaming. She was one of the lucky ones, they said. She survived the snap. But as she navigated the skeletal remains of what was once New York City, Elena wondered if luck had anything to do with it. The streets were graveyards of abandoned cars, their doors hanging open like mouths frozen half the population gone in an instant. No bodies, no graves, just absence. Elena worked in one of the few remaining research facilities, deep beneath Grand Central Station. The government, what remained of it, had tasked her team with a single, impossible mission: understand what Thanos had done and find a way to reverse it. But lately, Elena had begun to suspect that some things were never meant to be undone. It started with the recordings. Dr. Marcus June, her colleague, and one of the last quantum physicists alive, had developed a device that could theoretically detect residual energy signatures from the Infinity Stones. The stones themselves were gone. Thanos had destroyed them, according to the fragmented reports, but their echoes remained, rippling through reality like scars in the fabric of spacetime. "Look at this," Marcus said one evening, his face illuminated by the pale glow of his monitors. The underground lab hummed with the sound of failing generators. Power was scarce now. Elena leaned over his shoulder. On the screen, wavelengths posted in patterns that seemed almost organic, almost alive. "This is from the snap event," Marcus explained, his fingers trembling as he adjusted the display. "But there's something else. Background noise I can't filter out. It's been getting stronger over the past 6 months." "What kind of noise?" Marcus hesitated. I think they're trying to come back." Elena felt ice crawl down her spine. "That's impossible. They're dead, erased from existence." "That's just it," Marcus whispered. "What if they're not dead? What if they're somewhere else, trapped in the space between atoms, in the quantum foam, in the gaps where reality used to be whole?" He clicked a button, and the speakers crackled to life. At first, Elena heard nothing but static. Then, beneath the white noise, something else emerged. Voices. Thousands of them, maybe millions, overlapping and distorted, speaking in languages both familiar and alien. But one word, repeated. "Ober and ober," in every language. Elena staggered backward. "Turn it off." "There's more," Marcus said. He wasn't looking at her anymore. His eyes had taken on a feverish gleam. "I've been running the algorithm every night. The voice is there, getting clearer. And Elena, ... I think they know we can hear them." She should have reported Marcus to Director Hartley. Should have flagged his research as compromised, but something stopped her. Maybe it was the desperation in his voice. Maybe it was the fact that she heard her daughter's name in the static. Sophia, 3 years old when the snap took her. Elena had been holding her hand. That night, Elena returned to the lab alone. She brought up Marcus's recordings and put on the headphones. The voices washed over her like a tide, and she let herself drown in them, searching for the one voice that mattered. "Sophia," she whispered. "Baby, if you can hear me, ... The static shifted, changed, and then, impossibly, she heard it. "Mommy?" Elena's heart stopped. Sophia. "I'm here." "Where are you?" "It's dark. Mommy, I'm scared. Everyone's here, but we can't see. We can't move. He keeps us here. He won't let us go." "Who?" "Thanos. He watches. He sits on his throne and watches. He says this is balance. TC's. But Mommy, we're not at peace. We're screaming and no one can hear us. We've been screaming for so long." Tears streamed down Elena's face. "I'll find you, baby. I promise. I'll bring you back." The voice that answered wasn't Sophia's. It was deeper, colder, something that had never been human. "You can't bring back the dust, Dr. Vasquez, but you can join it." The lights flickered, Every screen in the lab went black simultaneously, and in the darkness, Elena saw them. Shapes. Translucent. Flickering in and out of existence. Like corrupted video files, they pressed against the walls, against the ceiling, against the very air itself. Hundreds of faces. Thousands. Their mouths open in silent screams. Their eyes pleading. Among them, Elena saw her daughter. Sophia's ghost reached out one small, transparent hand. Elena lunged forward, but her fingers passed through empty air. Sophia's image distorted, glitching, and her mouth moved in words Elena couldn't hear. Then the emergency lights kicked in, bathing everything in red, and the ghosts were gone. Marcus disappeared 2 days later. They found his apartment empty, his research deleted from the mainframe. But on his desk, written in his own blood on a piece of paper, were coordinates. Elena knew she shouldn't go. Every survival instinct screamed at her to destroy the note, to forget what she'd seen and heard. But she'd made a promise to her daughter. She requisitioned a vehicle and drove north, toward the coordinates. The roads where apocalyptic nature had begun reclaiming the world. Vines strangling highway signs, deer wandering through suburban homes. Half the population gone meant half the cities, half the farms, half the infrastructure. Civilization was collapsing in slow motion. The coordinates led to an abandoned Stark Industries facility in upstate New York. The fence was torn down, the buildings overgrown with ivy. Elena's flashlight cut through the darkness as she descended into the facility's lower levels. She found Marcus in what had once been a testing chamber for experimental arc reactor technology. He was standing in the center of the room, surrounded by equipment Elena didn't recognize, cobbled together from scavenged parts, wired into the facility's residual power supply. "Marcus, what are you doing?" He turned, and Elena gasped. His eyes had changed. They were filled with stars, with distant light, with a vast emptiness between galaxies. "I've been talking to them," he said, his voice echoing strangely. "All of them. They vanished. They showed me the truth, Elena. The snap didn't kill them, it transcended them. They exist in the space between space, in the moment before the moment. They're in superposition, alive and dead, here and gone. Marcus, you're not making sense. We need to get you help. Thanos is there too," Marcus continued, ignoring her. "Not his body that's on some distant planet, living out his retirement, but his consciousness, his will. It's embedded in the structure of what he did. He's connected to every person he erased, and he knows we're trying to bring them back." Elena felt something watching her. She spun around, but the chamber was empty. "He won't allow it," Marcus whispered. "He thinks he saved the universe. And anyone who threatens his balance, he pulls him in." The equipment around Marcus began to hum. Energy crackled through the air, and Elena smelled ozone. "Marcus, step away from the machine." "I can see them now," he said, wonder in his voice. "All of them. Sophia's here, Elena. She's beautiful. She wants you to know. She forgives you. Forgives me." "For what?" Marcus smiled, and it was the saddest thing Elena had ever seen. "For what you're about to do." He threw the switch. The chamber exploded with light. Not ordinary light, this was the light between atoms, the radiation of unmaking. Elena threw up her hands, but it was too late. The world inverted, reality turning inside out like a glove. And suddenly, she could see them all. Billions of souls, suspended in a web of golden energy that stretched across the universe. She saw Sophia, her little girl, preserved in the amber of infinity, aware but unable to act, screaming but unable to make sound. She saw Marcus, joining them, his body dissolving into motes of light, even as his consciousness was threaded into the pattern. And at the center of it all, she saw Thanos, not the physical being that shell was far away. This was the Titan's will made manifest, a presence vast and terrible and utterly convinced of its own righteousness. He didn't speak, but Elena understood his message perfectly. Ti smerki. This, he's salvation. Half the universe, preserved forever in perfect stillness. No war, no hunger, no pain, just existence. Eternal and unchanging Tissi's peace. Elena tried to scream, but she had no voice. She tried to run, but the light held her fast. She felt herself beginning to dissolve, to join the pattern, to become another thread in Thanos' tapestry of balance. But something inside her rebelled. Some tiny spark of humanity that refused to accept this insane definition of peace. She thought of Sophia, not the Sophia trapped in amber, but the real Sophia, laughing as she played in the park, skinning her knee and crying, growing and changing and living. Living meant imperfection. Living meant chaos. Living meant death. And that was beautiful. With the last of her strength, Elena grabbed the device Marcus had built. She didn't know what it would do. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. But she had to try. She smashed it against the floor. The pattern shattered. Elena woke up in the rubble of the testing chamber. Her body ached, covered in burns and cuts, but she was alive. Whole. Unplugged from Thanos' nightmare web. The equipment was destroyed. Marcus was gone, truly gone this time. His body reduced to ash. But as Elena staggered to her feet, she heard something impossible. Footsteps. Above her, on the upper level of the facility. She climbed the stairs, barely able to breathe. And there, in the main corridor, stood 7 people who hadn't been there before. They looked confused, disoriented, their clothes from 3 years ago, their last memories ending with dust. 7 people. Out of billions. What happened? One of them asked, "Where are we?" Elena realized what she'd done. Breaking the pattern, she'd created a flaw. A tiny crack in Thanos' perfect structure. And through that crack, a handful of souls had slipped back into reality. Only 7. But it was a start. It was proof that the snap could be undone. And somewhere, across the vast distance of space, Elena felt Thanos become aware of what she'd done. She felt his attention turn toward Earth, toward her, like the eye of a god focusing on an insect. It was Kameen. Elena drove the 7 survivors back to New York, her mind racing. She had to warn the others. Had to prepare, because now she understood the true horror of what Thanos had done. The snap wasn't just murder. It was imprisonment. Billions of souls, trapped in a state between life and death. Conscious but powerless. Forced to exist in Thanos' idea of paradise for eternity. And he would kill anyone who threatened to free them. As they reached the city limits, Elena's radio crackled to life. Director Hartley's voice, urgent and afraid. "All stations. We have a situation. Multiple quantum anomalies detected worldwide. Something's coming through. Something big." Elena looked up at the sky. The stars were disappearing, one by one, swallowed by spreading darkness. Thanos had destroyed the Infinity Stones. Yes, but he'd used them one last time before their destruction to ensure that his work would last forever. He'd woven their power into the very structure of the universe itself. And now that structure was fighting back against anyone who dared to repair it. The radio hissed again. This time, the voice wasn't Hartley's. It was Sophia's. It was Marcus's. It was billions of voices speaking as one. He's coming. The Titan is coming. And he's bringing us with him. All of us. We're his weapon now. He's proof. He'll show you what we've become. He'll show you that death is mercy compared to Half-Life. He'll make you choose. Join us in the pattern, or fight us, and destroy the only chance we have of being conscious at all. There is no winning. There is no escape. There is only balance. The darkness swallowed the last star, and Elena understood that the war wasn't over. It had never begun. Because how do you fight an enemy who's already won? How do you save people who might be better off staying dead? She looked at the 7 survivors in her vehicle. 7 miracles. 7 mistakes. 7 cracks. Imperfection. "What do we do?" one of them whispered. Elena gripped the steering wheel until her knuckles went white. Above them, the darkness continued to spread, and within it, she saw shapes moving. Armies of the half-dead. They almost erased. Billions of souls conscripted into Thanos' eternal crusade for balance. "We fight," she said. "Even if we lose, even if it's hopeless. Because that's what it means to be alive." As the darkness descended, Elena heard her daughter's voice one last time, and she couldn't tell if it was a warning or a plea. Ran, Mummy. Ran and never stop running. Because balance is patient. Balance is eternal. And balance always wins.